Lions just recovered a fumble.
Bits of wisdom.
It's Harry Houdini, I'm pretty sure.
That's when it kind of becomes Home Improvement After Dark.
I guess that leaves us at the question of the week.
Very good. I don't know if you noticed, Jordan, but a really cool aerial shot of the table. Reasonably funny. User review.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Home and podcast time!
That's right. A company that is a member of the U.S. Lawnmower Racing Association, along with Binford Tools, is proud to present a home improvement podcast. My name remains to be Adam, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jordan. That was a tough one to get through.
That was like a Tony Topola plot synopsis, long, riddled with errors. It was rough.
It was difficult. Take two, maybe take one would have just been better. Keep it raw, but
well, it was a little bit more explicit.
It was a little too raunchy for us. But Jordan, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing on this Friday morning?
TGIF. I'm doing well. We're here at the end of season 2. This week we're gonna cover the final episode of season 2, episode 49, The Great Race, and then we're gonna do our highs and lows of the season. I guess season in summation. I guess we called it last time around.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna combine it with this episode.
Yeah, and we've got some questions from our loyal listeners that we want to answer as well. So
yeah, we're just gonna talk the season as a whole, but not before we talk about this episode as a whole. And Jordan, is there anything that you kind of want to get off your chest before we start this?
Now's not the time.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Sure.
But you know what it is time for?
No, why don't you tell me?
I think I'm supposed to cue some grunts.
I know, what you're going to cue those grunts.
Sure, it's all safe to me. Oh, no.
Now it's time for Bits of Wisdom.
This week's bit of wisdom comes from scomedy.com. Speeding is like drugs. It makes everything come at you fast. And when you go back to normal driving, safe driving, prudent driving, it seems boring. That's the danger of drugs. At first it's intoxicating, but then the rest of your life you're trying to find that very first time. It never is the same. This has been your bit of wisdom. #danger, #driving.
Did it say #danger, #driving?
Yeah, at the very bottom.
It wasn't a tweet by him, was it?
No.
That would be a little bit longer than the character limit.
This is, like I said, I guess it's S-comedy as opposed to SC-comedy.
scomedy.com?
Yeah, after I said that, I was like, well, that's probably not right. At the bottom, they're advertising English teaching jobs in China. They have 26 new vacancies this month, so.
Oh, so everyone head over there if you're looking for a teaching job.
Yeah, hey, that's a free press for them.
So we're here to give you quotes from Tim, but also, job opportunities.
This episode of Home and Pod. This is a very special episode of Home and Podcast. Like how shows would do in the 80s and 90s, where it's like the anti-drug episode, or like the one
it's like Dare up in here right now.
Yeah, the Saved by the Bell, where Jesse gets hooked on caffeine pills, or Carlton has a gun on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This week we're just kind of talk about speeding and drugs. Kind of your two favorite things.
For sure. Yeah, and my little Prius C that doesn't go very fast. I speed all the time.
Yeah, but man, you are helping the environment.
Do my best.
Yeah. What are we covering this week, Jordan?
We're covering the season 2 finale, The Great Race. This was written by the show creators Carmen Finestra, David McFadzean, and Matt Williams. They last did Stereotypical and Forever Young, so it's been a while. Those are season 1 episodes. This one aired May 19th, 1993. Title reference is to the 1965 movie The Great Race, featuring Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, and Natalie Wood. Have you ever seen it?
I have not. Have you?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I did see another Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis film, Some Like It Hot.
Sure, yeah. That's a pretty famous one.
Yeah, this one I've heard of but never seen, so maybe next time. Let's get into alternative titles.
Okay. I have 3.
You have 3? I have 3 as well.
Okay.
I'll let you go first.
All right, so title's The Great Race. Without context, some of mine maybe aren't spectacular, but my first one is Feeling Froggy.
Should I do my frog-related one right now, too, just to keep it going? Okay. The Ribbiting Race.
Oh, that's good. My second one is tadpoles and taddlers.
You really went frog heavy, huh?
Yeah, it's easier.
Kiss my grass.
All right, my last one is gone in 600 seconds.
What does 600 seconds relate to?
Are you friggin' kidding me? You don't know the gone in 60 seconds?
No, I'm just saying, why did you do 600?
Because it's slower than a car.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
thought you were going to say you didn't know that movie, and I was like, because I spent like
No, Nicolas Cage
an
movies.
hour.
Nicolas Cage movies, I'm aware of.
I spent like a half hour this morning. Like, is this reference going to be lost? I don't know how are we going to navigate this. I was going to go 160 seconds, and I was like, that's still too fast. So
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He put a jet engine on that thing.
yeah, he did, but I don't know. Bob Vila isn't especially fast, so maybe I'm referring to that one.
Okay. My last one's pretty poor, but Mo power, Mo problems.
So you're kind of going with the Mo Better Blues formula.
Yeah, a great formula if we remember that episode.
Yeah, definitely. Well, all good titles. Mine probably better this week, but that's up for the viewers to decide. All right,
Yours was too frog heavy.
Yeah, mine are frog. Well, it's just easier to come up with frogs. Trivia this week. This is Lisa's last appearance, Jordan, as a regular cast member. She's going to come back in later seasons, but I don't know. It's weird. I feel like the last 2 episodes she's been featured a little bit.
I was going to say,
heavier.
I think they knew that she was leaving because she's in this episode a ton.
Yeah, for like it compared to what we've seen before. And yeah, this is also, Jordan, Karen's final episode. So
the moment you've been waiting for
go ahead
2
and sound
seasons.
the alarm. Let's so this is the last episode of for Karen. She would head off to Boy Meets World and play Corey Matthews' mom, Amy, for several years.
A more likable Karen.
Yeah, less annoying. I never had any problem with her on that show, whereas on this show I immediately had problems with her.
Constant problems.
Yeah. It's I'd like to report that they are doing some weed whacking outside the studio right now, so it doesn't matter where I live or what day we record, there's always going to be lawn mowing, weed whacking.
You're just kind of in this like bustling metropolis where there's always things going on, there's always something to do, and
there's St. Charles, Illinois, population 41,000. So
man, that's right around the same population I'm at, but perhaps less spread out, just more sprawl. Okay, so I've got a plot synopsis that I just want to remind everyone that I'm trying to read these as is, and there's definitely errors, but Tony Topola of Finland has provided another plot synopsis, another long one, so here we go. It starts off good. In Tool Time,
always happens.
Tim announces the poll winner of the most popular guest on Tool Time. The winner will be returning for another episode despite Tim's attempt to rig the vote. Tim ends up in a lawnmower racing contest against the guest in question. Lisa finally gets more than one scene. At home, Karen has won a day at the spa for 2 and plans to take Jill with her. Brad and Randy say they won't exclude Mark from activities if he passes a non-squealer test. He has to hold a tadpole inside his mouth for 3 seconds. Unfortunately, Mark swallows it when Randy gives him a pat on the back. Jill decides to teach the 2 a lesson. Ellipses.
That about does it. Makes it sound like there's a lot more going on.
I like that Tony keeps the guest a mystery throughout that.
Yeah. I mean, if you've never seen the episode, you have no idea
who's this guest gonna be.
All right. Anything else we need to talk about before we get into it?
I hope not.
All right. So we open on Tool Time. They're getting ready to announce something. Tim makes a joke that the announcement is that Al is a woman trapped in a man's body.
A rare transgender joke on Home Improvement. I think it's the first.
That was. A lot of things don't age well on the show. That aged particularly poorly.
Also, I was going to say the logo is bouncing up and down as if on a trampoline.
Gotta be honest, didn't even see the logo this time.
Man, you have not been trying to pay attention to the logo, I think.
It's my Daily Motion streams. I think there's like ads for like on Daily Motion, every commercial is the same. It's the same thing. It's like this this dude that is like complaining about having neck trouble from looking at computers. He's like, "Oh man, I'm so sore from staring." I'm like, I don't know what the commercial's for. I always click X, but I think I was probably focused on that instead.
I think that you're the target audience, just watching all these episodes on Daily Motion.
I do have neck problems, but maybe I should watch the commercial. Long story short, I'm going to get the DVDs for season 3. So you have my word.
I hope so. So garden tools is what they're working on right now. They're doing some spring tune-up. Much like the Twitter polls that you do, they have put up a favorite guest poll. They don't get like instant responses. They have to wait for postcards instead. So apparently people could go down to the local hardware store and cast a ballot. And I don't know how that relates to postcards later. Maybe they just drop them into a box that is automatically mailed.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Maybe, yeah.
But they list, they go through who's on this list, the Andretti's, Foreman. The finalists are the Andretti's, George Foreman, and Dwayne from K&B, so not the whole K&B boys. And
was it Dwayne and not Pete?
Yeah, I thought it should be Pete, but it's Dwayne.
That's weird.
That is very weird. So Bob Vila was left off the list. It must have been some sort of computer error.
Computer error, even though there was no computers involved in the ballot process.
So the winner, they unveil the winner, and we should say Lisa's out here too, right? Isn't she doing this right now?
Yeah, she brings out the. Is it like
the bag? It's like their mail bag or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it's a mail bag, but then also there's an envelope. And I was
wait. There's an envelope in the mail bag?
No, like there's an envelope that they draw from that has like the like official name on it, like it's like an Oscars kind of ballot thing.
Oh, I was thinking this is just like the Oscars.
Yeah.
Because Tim opens up the thing and he looks at it and he's like, "No, this can't be right."
Yeah. And then Warren Beatty comes out and he's like, I'm not joking. Everybody thinks I'm joking, but I'm not.
Just like the Oscars. So the winner is Bob Vila. He had 112. There was 112 votes total, and he won on a write-in campaign. I will say
probably spearheaded by Al, I guess.
Probably, and Lisa. We see that she's a big fan later too. So Tim almost lets it slip. Like he's miffed here. He lets it slip that he erased the name from the list. But yeah, he's upset that he has to deal with his nemesis.
Yeah, he is. And you know what? As the episode goes on, I'm kind of upset that he has to deal with him again too, because it's not especially interesting. But yeah, next scene, we're home. We have Jill and Karen. I guess, is it Karen that has won a day?
Won a spa day.
Yeah, she won a day of beauty at Adriana's.
Sounds fun.
I'm thinking that I'm just counting down the seconds until Karen's gone.
You've got a clock.
Yeah, every line could be her last line, and I was feeling excited for her to.
It's kind of like the episode of The Office where it's Toby's last day and Michael's really excited.
Yeah.
That's how you were. Trying to throw a party and all this kind of stuff. Get some cake, have a good time, but. So I think she's gonna take Jill. She doesn't have Dave in her life anymore. That rascal.
Well, she doesn't have anyone in her life, and I think we can kind of.
She's gonna move to a new city after this because she's very depressed.
Well, she met a guy in Philadelphia, and she found out she has a couple of kids. One of them's 10, and one of them's 16.
Wow.
Corey and Eric Matthews.
I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Brad and Randy are kind of sneaking by outside. They have a shovel and a rake, and Karen spots them and informs Jill. Jill goes out to stop them, and she says, "Don't go near the cemetery." And I'm wondering, what is Brad going to do with a rake in the cemetery when they're supposed to be digging stuff up?
Randy's going to dig the hole, and Brad's going to just clean up the brush or the leaves that have fallen.
He's going to make it look nice around the grave that they're digging, I guess. That's nice. So yeah, they can't take the tools anymore. They're not supposed to go anywhere near the cemetery. So instead, they're going to go build a dam at the creek.
But
little engineers.
Pause. You can't dig a hole by yourself. You get arrested for that. You get in a lot of trouble for that. That's like
these kids are troublemakers.
It's a real blow off line, but you can't do that. These kids. Anyway, who's digging by cemeteries anyways? You don't know what's happened. Anybody ever seen Poltergeist? They move these gravestones around like it's nobody's business.
This would have been a great opening to a Halloween episode.
Yeah, I wish this would have been. 2, you're digging near a cemetery, you're going to jail. I don't care if you're a kid or not. You can't dig near a cemetery.
They're just gonna put him in jail.
You're going to jail. You're done.
I'm guessing since they're minors, they would probably be okay. And I don't think it's probably, a felony or anything. But
Digging in a cemetery? Oh, Jordan, it's a felony.
all right.
Trust me.
We'll
Trust
go
me.
into the legal code a little bit later and try to find that law somewhere. But so yeah, instead they're gonna go ahead and build a dam at the creek. So they're gonna mess up the local ecosystem instead. Is that better?
I mean, it's probably not a felony.
I don't know. Do they have a permit for this dam?
You don't want to mess with the ecosystem because who are they to play God?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just these kids are getting into a lot of trouble. So Tim comes home. He's upset, still upset about the news that he's going to have to hang out with Bob Vila again. I wanted to note here that Jill is baking and she's making some delicious looking cinnamon rolls, and it made me hungry.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
They were good. I got an eye for cinnamon rolls. The girls are being mean to Tim.
Spoiler.
Spoiler. Yeah, they're being mean, and Jill says that Tim has something that Bob Vila doesn't have, though, and that's Al. So even with that, it's a backhanded compliment. I'm not saying that he's special in his own right. Karn invites him to a spa day to maybe relax, and he says something gross about toenails. I don't remember exactly what. Throwing his toenails at his wife or something.
Men throw their toenails in women's hair or something. It wasn't the
pretty
highlight of the
inconsequential end of the scene. Just they kind of move on. Tim's upset. It sets up that where everyone's gonna go. There's gonna be some dam building. There's gonna be Bob Vila's gonna be here later on, and the girls are gonna go to a spa day.
Yeah, they're just setting up all the really important things that are gonna transpire throughout this episode.
Everyone's wondering what's gonna happen, so they're just laying it out there. So.
Yeah.
On Tool Time, we're back at Tool Time. Lisa introduces the show, which is probably the first time this has happened in like a season and a half or something. And it's Bob Vila Day. He's going to be on. Al is chipper. Tim is upset, and he's trying to move on to talking about subfloors. But instead, they bring out Bob Vila, who comes out arm in arm with Lisa. And she goes on a little rant about how she loves him, too.
Question. If, everybody loves Vila so much, and he's, like, such a big shot. He's got, like, a national tool show, blah, blah, blah. How does he have the time to just keep coming on Tool Time? Like, he's very available. If he's such a big shot, why does he keep showing up on this cable show?
He harnesses other people to work for him. So he just kind of oversees things, and everyone else takes care of everything else.
I mean, okay, but yeah,
he's just the face.
He's just like you just keep hearing about how he's just like such a big celebrity, but he seems to just kind of like be hanging out in Detroit, very available for a show that.
Waiting for a show to basically vote and say, like, who's our
upwards
favorite
of 10
guest star?
people in the audience. I don't know.
I don't know. He's got time. Well, I think the important thing is he's trying to showcase this charity. So that's why he's got time for this one in particular. Because it's a Metro Detroit charity, and that's where the show presumably would have its biggest influence. So once Tim gets past, Lisa and Bob talking, he kind of squashes the rivalry while Bob makes a fool of him because he calls him by the wrong name. He calls him Jim.
Yeah, it's really not. Vila's acting. I think we talked about.
I think it's better this time than last time.
Yeah, but like, it's definitely better. But yeah, it still seems bad. Yeah, he calls him Jim, and it's like even like his delivery of like Jim as opposed to Tim is just like so choreographed. It's like, yeah, okay, Jim. Guys, see what I'm doing?
And then when him and Al laugh, maybe Bob is supposed to be like this. Maybe he's playing a character.
No,
because Al. I mean, that's how Al's jokes are a lot of the time. And Al really likes his sense of humor, so I don't know.
Yeah, I do. He's not playing a character. He's just bad at acting. Yeah, I mean, the only really funny thing in the scene is that Al thinks that Vila's so funny that he says, like, we can't have you on anymore because my sides are going to split. That's kind of funny. That's probably how you feel recording with me most of the time. Just your sides are going to split.
I get a stitch every time we record.
Yeah, stitches get stitches.
Mm-hmm.
So Vila talks about his charity while he's in town. He's having a lawnmower race for charity, but
I don't know how this is going to raise money,
yeah,
guys.
I know, because he doesn't, as of now, Well, evidently, he didn't have anyone to race. He said he's having trouble getting anyone to race him, and boy, did he mean it, because he only races Tim at the end, so it's going to be...
What, are they charging people, like, an entry fee to watch this race?
Well, I mean, he's going to raise, like, $4 for the charity, or whatever, he's going to... There's not going to be anything for people to see.
And after the damage that Tim does to the park, sorry, spoiler alert, he's going to have to pay.
You got to stop spoiling things, man.
Sorry.
People probably haven't seen this before. Vila, they talk about lawnmowers. Vila's been clocked at 42 miles per hour.
Everyone's impressed by that.
Yeah, everyone's really impressed by that. Tim agrees to race him. He's kind of put on the spot by Al, but also I think he kind of wants another shot at taking down the king.
Yeah, any chance he can get, he'll take. So we'll move on into the garage. Tim is working on the aforementioned lawnmower. I guess the one from Mo Better Blues needed an upgrade, so... The girls are also home from the spa. Tim walks in and he doesn't really notice that they've went to the spa, but he gets them to come into the garage and show off some of the improvements he's been working on. Apparently he found a jet engine off of a Chinook helicopter, and he got that on loan from the U.S. Racing Association and put it on this lawnmower.
I thought, is this his lawnmower, or did he just borrow the entire thing from the U.S. Lawnmower Racing Association? Or did he just borrow the jet engine?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just kind of assumed he made the modifications.
Yeah, maybe.
Just because that's what he usually does.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't necessarily clear, but yeah.
Here's something
Jill
I also don't know. Why is Jill surprised that he did this? She acts surprised. This is what he does. He always does more power. He always does over the top. This is not... We've had 49 episodes, and he's done this in 30 of them, probably.
Well,
I mean...
I'd say on the low end, yeah. Probably at least.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also don't know why Tim is wearing the same shirt as he was the scene before Tool Time. He's wearing the same green shirt. Like, when is Tool Time happening? What day is this?
Well,
I wish
guess
one episode would explain, I wish they could navigate a couple of days on this show a little bit better. It just never makes sense.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is a lot of times they'll show what happens before.
Yeah.
But why would the kids be going off to the creek?
Yeah. Well, then they need some narration or something.
I guess
Later
it's
that
summer.
day.
It's summer, so the kids are out. And they are meeting in the morning. He's wearing that shirt. He goes to work, changes, and then after work, he wears the same shirt. And this is after. That's all I got.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Anyways, Jill is blaming
case.
him in his competition on Bob Vila's presence, which is like a duh moment. Apparently, his new lawnmower can go 94 miles an hour, and it can mow a football field in 11 seconds.
Wow. Yeah, he said... He did have a funny line where he says, you got your jet engines, you got your lawnmowers. It was really just a matter of time before somebody put those two things together.
Yeah, that was a good line.
That was funny. It's quick. It's short scenes in this episode, so...
They got a lot going on. They've got 3 different storylines kind of going on.
Yeah, and they're all really good. Brad and Randy were in the side yard. They were at the creek catching tadpoles.
They're dirty.
They left Mark out.
Surprise.
Yeah, Mark, he feels bad because he's never included in things because he is a tattle. They're very valid. So he's going to take the tadpole secrecy test, and that is you put a live tadpole in your mouth for 3 seconds. After some discussion, Mark agrees to do it. He puts it in his mouth for 3 seconds. The 3rd second, Randy hits him in the back, and Mark swallows it. And now he's going to grow into a frog inside of him.
2 observations.
Yeah.
What were their plans with these tadpoles before this came up? Because they have a bucket full of them.
Yeah, it wasn't clear. I wondered that too.
And also, did you notice Mark's hair? He's growing a mullet. He's trying to be like Brad.
It's bad. It's really bad right now.
It's really long.
It's huge. It's just like, it's mushroom-esque.
He's a little toad.
Your hair was kind of like this when we were younger.
Was it?
You had kind of like I'm not saying like a bowl cut, but like, you know what I mean? You've seen pictures of yourself when you were younger.
Have I? Do I remember? Yeah, it was not nearly that.
It wasn't this big, but like it was along this line.
It was pretty plain.
I mean,
definitely a lot less going on in the back, I'll tell you that.
Well, party in the front, party in the back, but
needless to say, things have changed a little bit from 8th grade, 9th grade.
Yeah, hey, I mean, I used to highlight my hair, so I'm not glass houses, right? Mark does swallow the tadpole. He freaks out. He goes inside and immediately tells on his brothers. Brad and Randy just run away. When they just run away, I wonder what their ultimate plan is. They just sprint off somewhere. You're gonna have to come home eventually.
Yeah, they're gonna delay their judgment.
They're gonna ride the rails or something. He tells his mom, and she tells Tim. Tim laughs and goes into some kind of gross stories about him and his brothers, about cockroaches and mashed potatoes and things of that nature. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen this before, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about it? I don't think.
No, not really.
Karen's there still. A lot of Karen FaceTime.
This is the final Karen scene, if I'm not mistaken.
Did it live up to the hype for you?
Well, the only hype was that there was a scene that she was in that was her last scene, so in that way it did. Yeah, I don't know. I was glad to see her gone, frankly.
She left with a whimper.
In like a lion, out like a lamb. That's Karen.
Later at home, Jill is making soup. So she puts in a lot of effort for this disgusting soup that has liver, and it's only going to be fed to these two boys.
It doesn't really pay off, frankly.
I mean, it does for a second. For 3 seconds, it pays off. But
the whole Jill, it's a weird dynamic. It's basically Jill versus Brad and Randy a lot of the time. She's always trying to get them back, and I don't know. That just seemed why don't you just punish them, instead of trying to do these prank wars? Why don't you just ground the boys for a couple weeks? I kind of like the prank
wars.
There is
the time that she does that she does punish them is when they do something horrific, like stealing from that charity on Christmas.
Yeah, they were punished for about 3 hours.
Well, they had to didn't they have to go back to the charity and all that kind of stuff. So and then they were grounded. No Barbarian 2 or whatever game that was that they had.
Something of Drax.
Dungeon of Drax 2. Yeah. So
I mean, I don't know. I think that when they did the cigar thing and they were starting to I don't know, they thought they had symptoms. I thought that one was funny, but this one I didn't necessarily like. But I guess we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. Or is it this scene right here?
I mean, it is later in the scene, but Tim. She's making the soup, but then Tim Tim goes outside.
Yeah.
At that point, he tells the boys to come eat, and he sees Wilson. So our first Wilson clip, our first Wilson sight of the episode. He wasn't outside when the boys were doing the tadpole issue. Otherwise, he might have put the kibosh on that. But Wilson's got some wisdom to impart, so we're gonna go ahead and play a clip.
Yeah, let's play our first Wilson sight.
Brad, Randy, hustle up, dinner time.
Hi-ho, neighbor.
Hi there, Wilson. You missed a snip.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you can't guess what I got in my garage.
Well, just off the top of my head, I'd say a small riding lawnmower with a jet engine attached.
Huh?
Mark told me.
Think about it, Wilson. I'll be driving the fastest riding lawnmower on Earth. I'll be a lawn mowing legend. Oh.
Well, Tim, it sounds to me like you're dealing with hubris.
Hubris? What's that in English?
It is English. It means excessive pride.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
Not necessarily a good thing.
I don't have that. I don't want it. I'm just in this lawn mowing competition with Bob Vila.
Nothing like the rousing spirit of competition.
Yeah, Jill and Karen think it's a stupid idea.
Well, Tim, competition can be a very healthy thing.
That's what I think. I think competition inspires men, challenges us to build the biggest building, the fastest missile, the most absorbent bathroom tissue. Oh.
Competition brings out the best in product.
You're darn right.
But sometimes the worst in men.
Oh, yeah, Dad. Hey, guys, I'm just looking for you.
Hey, Dad. We're really sorry.
Sorry about what?
Didn't you talk to Mark?
No.
Oh, well, then we're sorry we're late for dinner. Yeah.
Well, your mom's got it ready for you. Take those muddy shoes off before you get in the house.
Okay.
Tim, would the boys be in trouble?
Big trouble. They made Mark eat a tadpole, so Jill's making them think they're having tadpole soup.
Well, if you want to try the real thing, why don't you come over to my house on Saturday night?
So Tim doesn't know what hubris is, which I found to be an interesting wrinkle. Tim's intelligence is pretty inconsistent. Some weeks he's sparring verbally with Wilson in a quote off, and then some weeks he doesn't know what hubris means. Brad and Randy, they return. They're ready to apologize, but Tim acts like he doesn't know. Everybody's kind of playing into this soup facade. But it's is there really, what does Wilson even say, like that hubris is bad?
He basically, they talk about competition too, and he says competition, Tim loves competition. It pushes us to create all these wonderful things and to go higher than we would go on our own. And Wilson says competition does produce the best in product, but often or sometimes the worst in men. So it's a double-edged sword of sorts.
It's a weird scene because Wilson is delivering the advice and the boys come, so it's kind of like disjointed a little bit. But they head inside after that. Is that?
Yeah, I also did want to say Wilson knows about the lawnmower, and that's because Mark told him. And I'm about sick of them relying on this. Like Mark tells everyone everything.
Yeah, it is a convenient plot device. It's like
just
Mark.
Every time something has to be told to a character to make sense, Mark did it at some point.
Mark is just making the rounds. He's just
you know what I want? I want a scene between Mark and Wilson.
God, that'd be funny.
That's what they should have done.
Yeah, that actually would be cool. Also, Wilson has real tadpole soup. So if you want to have real tadpole soup with Wilson, you just go over there.
Over on Saturday night. He's even making it.
Yeah.
Which is consistent with Wilson's character, I suppose.
Yeah, that is consistent. We head inside, and the soup gag just is, in my opinion, it's kind of a flop. But so basically, they're the only ones that are going to eat the soup, and Mark is having ice cream, and they kind of immediately are like, well, we're supposed to think there's tadpoles in this. We don't. But there's like liver in it, which is supposed to be a tadpole substitute, I suppose. So she spoons it up. What is it? It's cream of mushroom with liver and something else.
Yeah, I don't really remember. Besides the mushroom and the liver, I don't really remember. It's a very inconsequential soup, except for the frog that they're going to pull out later.
Yeah. That basically is the gag that they are eating the soup, and they begin to kind of convince themselves that it does kind of taste sort of funny, and then Jill throws out a plastic frog, and they're kind of freaked out.
But they're kind of onto them, because they're making all these subtle hints that there could be something froggy in the soup, and Brad and Randy basically say it's a bluff. And they taste it, and then of course they think it tastes weird. Their mind's playing tricks on them, all that kind of stuff. And Jill pulls out this very obvious fake frog, and that throws them over the edge. So
I think it's really stupid. I really didn't like it.
For about 5 seconds, they are terrified. Jill sees all, hears all, and knows all, and so they apologize.
If that were true, none of this stuff would happen.
That's true. But I do like the line at the end where Jill says she'll fix real dinner, and Tim says, honey, I think you've punished them enough.
Yeah, Tim has some good one-liners in this one. Yeah. I thought so too. But on the whole, I was pretty unimpressed by this bit. All right, race day, Jordan.
Oh, yeah, let's go outside.
There's an audience of like 10 people there to watch.
A camera crew to bring it to the millions that want to watch it and donate.
I guess they're realistic about the number of people that would be interested. I'm surprised they didn't have like a bigger crowd, but it is probably like 10 to 20 people. Mm-hmm. They're doing a live Tool Time show. There's some banter between Vila and Tim where Bob says, this race is just it's for the kids, and
the kids want it.
The kids want it. The kids want the race. It's really, I remembered this from when I was younger. It didn't really live up, but they start racing. Good.
I was gonna say, did you notice that they have 3 judges?
No, no. I did notice later on there are palm trees visible when Tim is heading off towards the expressway.
I don't remember those in Metro Detroit.
Yeah, they didn't do a very good job hiding those palm trees, but that's all right. Daily Motion didn't wrong me in that regard. I guess I could see that. Vila takes the early lead, and Tim doesn't let him have the lead very long. He pulls a lever, and then immediately things just go off the rails.
Boy, do they.
He's running through, is it just like bales of hay that are there?
Yeah, bales of hay, back-to-back episodes of Hay Talk. Yeah, he puts on the jets basically and loses control. He's like running people out of the way. I guess there's camera crews or people on the course. He ends up going through like this sign that it says like Memorial Park or something, and he ends up going through like a wooden fence and onto the roads.
That's where you see that palm tree.
Yeah. So he also has a tiny helmet cam that's on his, so it gives us a little bit different of an angle.
Yeah,
it's like we're going through all the signs.
Yeah, it was great. This scene did a thing that you often see in movies or TV shows where a guy is like, so Tim is, he's lost control and there's a guy in front of him and he's about to hit the guy, but the guy just like keeps running straight and like turning around. Like he very easily could go left, he could go right, he could do anything but what he's doing. But he just keeps running, like don't hit me, when he's like he refuses to veer off. I don't know.
When you panic, you just don't know what to do, and stuff like that happens, I guess.
I guess so.
I haven't been chased down by a lawnmower in a long time.
Yeah, it's
hard for me to remember.
Yeah, it's been a minute for me as well. That's it for that scene.
Yeah,
so
that's the end of the great race.
It's a lot of setup, a lot of establishing for very little payoff. But we head home. Tim he's been brought home by the officer.
This is ridiculous.
She heard about a lawnmower on I-96. Whoa.
I like that he still has his helmet on and there's hay all over him. Like he wouldn't just brush that off and take off the helmet. Why would you wear that?
It's night as well, so it's presumably been,
it's been a long time.
Several hours. Good line here. Bad news, I got a ticket. Good news, I mowed 40 lawns, made $186.
Yep.
Funny. And then, if you want to end your season in any way possible, you want it to get a little bit horny. So
they do this on a lot of episodes. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
They'll end the episode on like a suggestive note.
Yeah, I mean the suggestion here is they're about to bone
with the camera.
Well, that's just good for the private collection. The helmet cam is on.
Although Jill runs away.
Yeah, and Jill is like, she's kind of into it, or she's not into it. Hard to tell.
She's intrigued, at least.
Yeah, and he says, "Come here, woman." They start running, and then that's kind of how the episode ends. And we do see, they're breaking the fourth wall here. We're seeing the lights over the studio and stuff. I guess that was unintentional. So you want end of season 2, basically. They're about to get to it.
Yeah, they're setting up season 3, I guess. It's getting a little risque in season 3, maybe.
I hope so. So after that, the final credits they're doing kind of like their curtain call. Mm-hmm. JTT runs out. He's looking
Hip Hop Nation.
A little arrogant, I would say. He's got his hands like inside of the sleeves of his sweatshirt. He's not really smiling. I think this is maybe peak JTT. He's getting a little too big for his britches.
I don't know. He does have, and like I said, everyone has a pretty normal shirt on for the most part. His says Hip Hop Nation for some reason. He's getting a little too big for his britches, like you said. But is he? Let's see, what year was this? 93? Is Latin King 94? So I guess he maybe is filming for that.
He's getting there. He's
getting there. Yeah,
I would
he's
say
on
at
the
this
ascent.
Point, in real life, probably JTT fever had not struck because he's still kind of like a little boy here. But I think we're getting close to that point, and man, am I excited!
Yeah, if I recall, last season when they did this, it was less tame. I feel like Brad had some really weird outfit on or something, and there was some other stuff.
Yeah, Brad did like a weird spin.
Man, they just kind of run out. I like that they cut off part of Mark's thing. They didn't even like show his name. They just show him running out and then everyone else.
Well, they know. They know what people want.
And Wilson and Al don't get really involved in this, but we do see that they're there as well.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Wilson's got his little like popsicle stick fence.
Roll credits fade to black. The Great Race. And Jordan, probably one of our greatest episodes today.
Jeez. We still got time to save it.
We've been vibing here. Just good bits. When they cut a home and podcast best of, this episode will not be a part of it.
No.
All right, so highs and lows, Jordan, The Great Race.
I did think Bob Vila was a little bit better. Apparently you didn't think so, but I thought he was a little bit better than last time. I like that they had 3 different stories going on, even though none of them were super compelling. The race is the race. But the spa day with Karn isn't very exciting either. I guess the most exciting was the tadpoles, to be honest. Lisa and Karn get a decent send-off as far as like screen time, so that's good. I mean, there was a couple good lines, like you said, the mowed 40 lawns and something else earlier that I don't remember. What is it off the top of my head? Jeez.
Mowed 40 lawns made $186.
Yeah, and there was another line that Tim said earlier.
Tim says that she's punished the boys enough. She doesn't need to make another dinner.
Yes, so there are a couple good lines in there like that. I do not like Mark's mullet. I'm not a big fan of that.
It hits too close to home, I think.
Yeah, it's just too close for comfort. Wilson's advice doesn't really change Tim's behavior at all in this episode. Like, he still does exactly what he's going to do. He's still going to race and be super competitive. Like, so it's kind of like, why did we have this Wilson scene? Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't compelling. They've done a lot of this stuff before.
Yeah. I don't like these Bob Vila episodes. I feel, and I know we're going to get more of them. It feels like it's like a special finale thing that they do that I'm not really on board with. I feel like these are viewed as being like kind of special. We said that last time too. The What About Bob episode is like these are supposed to be like iconic episodes. Like I remember the Great Race episode. I don't know. I just like I don't like this. I don't think Vila's interesting. He's not. He's only a good adversary for Tim, like in theory, but like when they're in the same scene together, like Vila can't hang. Like he's not even can't even riff. When he says like Jim instead of Tim, like I wanted to like roll up in a ball and just like cry. It's just embarrassing his acting chops.
I don't know. It was knee slapping for them.
Yeah, it's side splitting. So I don't know. Like I'm not interested in the Vila dynamic. The Jill thing, the like Jill prank, I thought was just like a lot of preamble for not a lot of payoff. Like she might as well just put like a plastic frog underneath their pillows at night or something. It would have had the same effect. I don't know. I didn't think that was that funny. And then the Wilson segment. Yeah, Tim doesn't know what hubris means. Tim doesn't really listen to the advice. Whatever. Highs. There are some good. The jokes in this one are pretty crisp. Tim has good one-liners. I guess anytime you can get multiple storylines that are at least somewhat intriguing, you've got something good. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I don't know. It's not these finales with Vila. They're just not my favorite, and I'm not able to really say a lot more on that. But yeah, well, obviously the highest of highs is Karen's gone. So
yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't your first and only high.
Yeah, Karen's going to Boy Meets World. Lisa's going to Baywatch. So yeah, we got it. At the very least, there's that to kind of hang our head on. So
yeah. All right, so not a great season finale in any sense of the word, show-wise or us-wise, I guess. But we do have some season and summation questions, thoughts, moments, best and worst, everything that we want to go through. So you want to get onto that? Let's put this behind us.
Jordan, you're right, I do.
All right. So we, similar to last episode...
It's going to be loose, Jordan.
It's going to be loose. It's going to be freewheeling. Last season, we did a whole separate episode. I don't think we're doing that this time, but we've got best episodes, worst episodes, best moments, worst moments, favorite guest stars, least favorite guest stars. What do we think will happen in season 3, which I seriously don't know because I don't remember, and some listener mail.
Yeah. Jordan, when you say you don't think we're doing a separate episode, I can tell you we're not. We're doing it right now.
Yeah, well, I was going to maybe cut it.
You could cut it. I guess it's a possibility. All right, so... Let me think. What do you want to start with? What would you like to start with, I guess? I'll give you the option.
Oh, man.
Best eps, worst eps,
let's start
best
with
moments.
Let's start with best episodes because we're doing bad right now. We need something happy to talk about, something cheery.
Jordan, I don't think we need to beat ourselves up over that, over what we just recorded. We did the best we could. We've done this 50 times. It's not an easy endeavor. We generally are talking about the same things, so... Hey, if we don't come in crisp every time, well, it's the nature of the beast. Free entertainment, baby. Best eps.
All right, best episodes.
In no particular order.
Yeah, we did not
So
rank
just,
these.
Just top 3.
Just top 3.
All right, so we're going to say the title, and then we're going to give our kind of explanation as to why. Jordan, you go ahead and go first. Give me one of your 3 best episodes from Season 2.
I'm going to go with the Halloween episode, Haunting of a Taylor House. We've got everything we need for a good episode there. We've got some good Halloween hijinks. We've got some scaring of a snarky little boy. Ryder Strong plays Danny. And Jennifer Zdarsky is there causing a ruckus. Brad's dressed up like a fool as Raggedy Ann. And I like that episode. It's, their Halloween episodes tend to turn out pretty good. There's some good jokes there. And I think this one lived up to the hype.
Maybe not shockingly, this was also one of mine. So episode 30, Haunting of Taylor House. The final basement scene is good. Anytime, like you said, any Halloween episode usually going to be solid because you're going to have at least one kind of scene where they like showcase a haunted house or a maze or something of that. Brad was funny with his Raggedy Andy costume. Ryder Strong, pretty annoying and kind of unfathomable from a, is this an actual person? Like who acts like this when they're 8?
This 11, 12-year-old.
Yeah, it's a memorable guest spot. Obviously, we're going to talk about this a little bit later on, but there's a particular scene there where it's quite melodramatic, an arrival by Jennifer and Ryder that I really enjoyed, but we'll kind of save that a little bit later. But yeah, it's a good episode. I think the Halloween episodes are often quite good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. Heavy Metal is my second one.
Okay, me too.
So far, I just want to say this in regards to season 2. Like when we look at season 2 and season 1, I think it's pretty obvious that season 1 was better.
I think season 2 was
pretty bad,
pretty terrible in general. We'll talk about like comparisons later on, but season 2, season 1 had some like very high highs, right? Like there were like very obvious like cut and dry strong episodes and very bad episodes. Whereas my list of bad episodes for season 2, I had like 8 I could have chosen that all kind of felt the same to me. So I guess when we say that we have our top 3 episodes, I guess there probably will be some overlap. So episode 29, Heavy Metal. Do you want to go ahead and talk about why that was one of your favorites?
Yeah, I mean this one is full of guest stars. This is when they have like those 3 couples over. A new premise at the time is Jill kind of like setting up her friends, so we get to see that. I think Wanda in that episode is really good. She's the one with like the really gravelly voice.
Eileen Brennan.
Yeah, she does a really good job, and I think everyone plays their part pretty well as far as the guests in the episodes go. So, I enjoyed Heavy Metal. It was something different, and we got some new character flavor in there.
Yeah, it's a good one. A lot of interesting guest stars. You got Bob and Leslie, newlyweds, younger. You got generational guest stars. Eileen Brennan, the god Dion Anderson. Al's trying to get set up with Karen, but Karen is interested in Dave, and we know how that's going to play out. And Al wears like a 10-gallon hat, and that whole thing is like funny. It's a tough episode for Al, but he's pathetically funny. And then of course there is the McGurn boys, and again that's another moment later. Yeah, that's another moment I don't want to highlight too much now. But Heavy Metal's good. It's it's the episodes early on in the season were infinitely better than the episodes in the mid to late season, I would say. So. All right, Jordan, I better do one here. So
please.
My final favorite episode, and I hope that this doesn't cross over with yours, but perhaps it will, is episode 32, May the Best Man Win.
I don't think that's mine. Yeah,
okay.
No.
All right, good.
I mean, I don't really have a third one, to be honest. But,
really?
Go ahead.
Okay, so episode 32, May the Best Man Win. You got Mo Binford in her debut, and the first episode she's probably featured in the most, and she's kind of a funny character because she's throwing a wrench in, at least Tim's kind of expectations of what tool time can be. Wilson's too busy for Tim in this one, which I liked. Like, Tim goes out and he seeks advice, and Wilson's like, you know what, just don't have time for it. And then there's just like the Al and Mo dynamic. I think is funny. Al is just like fawning over her. And this is the episode where Tim he has like he's just sort of much like Al in the last one. He's just kind of pathetic. Like Jill gets the job and like Tim has to like take care of everything at home, and like he has all these problems with Mo and stuff, and just like no one will listen to him, and he's just kind of mopey, and it was kind of funny.
Guy.
And then there's an iconic joke at a construction site, which again I don't want to highlight too much now because that will come up later on. So
yeah, that is a very good episode. Although I'm wondering whatever happened to Mo Binford. She was like coming to change all these things on the show. And really, like you said, throw a wrench. And all of a sudden, now we haven't seen her in forever, and they really haven't talked about her.
Yeah, they should have been more of a season-long arc, but that's just not how things operate on.
Yeah, they don't play that way at the sitcom. So, let's do lunch. I don't have a third one, like I said. Did you cover? I guess you covered all three: Haunting, Heavy Metal, and that one.
Why don't you have a third one?
Because, like my third, like you said, I didn't really like a lot of episodes. I would say, I don't know, maybe The Great Race, the one that we just covered, is maybe my other one, and that's not good. So, all
right. Well, I have an honorable mention as well, and that's X Marks the Spot. That's a pretty recent one. I like that. I thought that was fun. I like, at the very least, like, I don't know, something different.
Can I say that's on my worst episode list?
Really? I thought there was good awkward moments in there. I was nervous for Tim. I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny.
All right, let's move in.
So I don't need to explain it much more.
This is perfect to move into worst episodes now. Okay, so it's on my worst episode list because it never should have happened. Like, first of all, everyone, I think we talked about this at the time, but Tim is the only normal person in this episode because everyone thinks that it's a great idea to have your ex involved and to get her like all up in her life and be friends with your current wife and all that kind of stuff. And it's just very strange. Al is a weirdo in this episode. He rejects Tim's ex for whatever reason, and then everyone gets mad at Tim for like hiding the information or trying to make it less awkward. I don't know. It's very strange.
Yeah, but Tim's really funny in it.
Well, I guess there's that.
Yeah,
I just don't like the premise of it. I guess.
Yeah, you can't get around that. All right, so that's yours. My first one is episode 35, Abandoned Family. This is where Jill she's got her job, or she's had her job for a while, and Tim kind of has to take over all of the home, kind of taking care of the kids and all the work at home. And it's just like an episode where all they do is fight. Jill doesn't like anything that Tim does because it's not the way that Jill would do it. So she's annoying. She's kind of unreasonable. Tim doesn't really have anything funny to do. It's just a lot of like, Tim will wash the dishes a certain way and then Jill will want him to do it her way. And it's not fun television. The only gag is the washing machine. And that is kind of just whatever. He customizes the washing machine. And while it does stick for the whole season, it wasn't enough to save this episode. Just an all-fighting episode, which are my least favorite.
Yeah, definitely. My second least favorite is Love is a Many Splintered Thing. And this is the one where Jill takes a compatibility test from the magazine that she works on or whatever that she created. And it shows that her and Tim are not compatible. And then Tim creates his own to get back at her. Randy is doing the ventriloquism thing for a talent show. Yeah, I don't know. The compatibility tests are dumb. They just make it up as they go. And nobody likes a ventriloquist, I guess. And I would say the one thing that this episode does have going for it is that the dummies were pretty impressive. At least Tim's was.
Yeah.
But like the scene at the end where they're like talking to each other as like ventriloquists and stuff. I don't know. Just a lot of weird stuff happening in that episode that I didn't like, and they're fighting for no reason again.
Yeah, this was my honorable mention. Worst episode. The tests are. It's just an.
Our tests were good.
Our tests were fantastic. Very compatible. Obviously, but no, it's just like she makes up the tests as she goes along, and just like creates conflict, and there's no stakes to the test. The test has no meaning, so it's just like fighting for the sake of fighting. So. All right, my next worst episode is episode 41, You're Driving Me Crazy, You're Driving Me Nuts.
This one was definitely in consideration for me.
It's the worst title of the series thus far. This is the one where, it's basically entirely in the car. They're driving to a wedding, and Tim doesn't need directions, or he doesn't think he does. They go to the same gas station twice. They just keep going in circles. It's winter.
This really weird gas station in Ohio.
Yeah, there's a cop there, and then there's a guy who is like I said earlier, is on the spectrum. He just seems like a very peculiar guy. Like there's something wrong with him. This episode was kind of like a fever dream, like it's like you're in like purgatory. You're just kind of going to the same places, doing the same things. It has Karen in it. Obviously, that's a strike against it. She's babysitting the kids.
That's a huge strike against it.
Yeah, it's just like them in the car arguing about whether or not they should stop. When they do stop, they're at the same gas station in Ohio both times, and it's very like quirky and kind of
I remember,
offbeat, but it's not funny.
I remember us having a lot of questions too at the end about like Tim comes home and
yeah.
Jill ends up at the wedding. It's very strange.
And then the woman gets left at the altar anyways. Sheila,
that's like your third time, right? Something like that.
Yeah, at least. But they get to eat the food at the end or something. It's a really
it's a rough episode.
Yeah,
it's a rough one. My perhaps least favorite one is Howard's End, and this is the one. The fish. Jennifer goes away, gives the fish to Brad. He kills the fish, and now he has to buy a new fish. I don't have any problems with that part of the story, really. But Tim and Jill get in a fight over who owns what when Jill opens a private checking account for herself. And that is, like, the main conflict that happens. And it's such a weird conflict. Like, why aren't they just sharing what she makes? Why is she opening a separate bank account? They fight the whole time about this. It's a very strange fight to me.
I remember that one as the one where you said that your wife wouldn't know how to open a bank account if she needed to.
In jest.
Yes. The jest was subtext. I didn't have that one on my list. My last one, my least favorite, is episode 47, To Build or Not to Build. So we just covered that one.
That was the question.
Yeah. It's exactly like Jill's birthday episode from season 1. So like it's Mother's Day and they have to give her a present, and so it's very much like formulaic in that regard. Randy's ungrateful to he's just like, Mom will like whatever. Randy's just kind of a jerk in that one. I thought I thought Wilson's mother was like just like they were trying too hard. I thought
Crazy.
That was really unfunny. And then much like you have a disdain for ventriloquism, I didn't care for Randy's magic at the end. The great Randini it didn't do it for me.
No.
And it's funny that we have like 7 different least favorite episodes between the two of us. Because
I would honestly pick any of yours too. It's just not. Yeah. As we said, we just didn't enjoy the season as much.
Yeah, I wonder what was different about season 2 in comparison to
season 1, everything was new.
It's fresh.
Yeah. So when you start doing the similar plots, like you said, the Jill's birthday and the to build to not build or whatever, to build or not to build. We've seen that before, so we don't want to see it again. And that happens a lot in season 2, it seems like. And they just continue to have, I don't know. When I was thinking about it, Al is really still undeveloped in this season, and a little more strange than he will be later on. And the boys kind of aren't in their prime yet. Mark is just constantly a narc. The boys are picking on him. Randy's trying some different stuff. He's doing ventriloquism. He's Peter Pan. He's the Great Randini. He's all over the place. And I don't know. It's just a lot of different things that aren't super interesting, I guess.
The guest stars definitely weren't as good in season 2 either. We get like the Candy Construction Boys like 600 times in season 2 to diminishing results. It's I suppose it.
Let's talk guest stars.
It does lack a freshness. Yeah, we can talk about guest stars right now. So guest stars, I have 3 that stood out to me. The first one being Polly Holiday, who is Jill's mom in what is it called? The Nana.
Much Ado About Nana.
Much Ado About Nana. Yeah, I thought she's good. She's like a good actress, like someone that obviously like has the chops to be there in an episode that is pretty middle of the road for me, but I don't know. I liked her dynamic with Jill. I bought her as Jill's mom. I just thought compelling performance in a season where there really weren't too many.
Yeah. I liked, we mentioned her earlier, but Eileen Brennan as Wanda. She was, I don't know, she played the role really well as like this cantankerous old wife of this, long marriage, and she's got a great voice that matches her personality, and she's sassy. So it was all good for me with Eileen Brennan.
Your kind of woman.
That's right. Give me some sass.
Another one I liked, and this is not a real creative pick, but Vicki Lewis. Although like she's in a couple different episodes, I found her to be a welcomed addition to the season. At the very least, like she kind of changed things a little bit or altered the general home improvement formula. So I liked her dynamic with Al. I liked how she can kind of get Tim ruffled up, and her delivery of producer was. I enjoyed that as well.
Wow, you did that really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been practicing.
Yeah, one specific moment, we talked about, too much K&B boys overall, but Pete with his poem, I thought was a really good moment in the season.
Are we switching to moments now? Or are we
no, this
stars?
is kind of a guest star appearance. It's a little bit of a hybrid, I guess you would say. But I think he delivers his lines funny, as usual, and the poem, I think, played well. And, it inspired you to create your own poetic masterpiece, so.
Yeah, it was Pete that inspired me, not the iTunes review. Yeah, I agree. It's hard because they've diluted those guest appearances because they come on so often, but it was good. My last one is Ryder Strong, just because it's memorable. Is it good? Is it bad? It's probably bad.
It's interesting.
It's interesting, but it's provocative. Gets the people going. So
the whole cast is galvanized at him. The whole party.
I mean, he is a clear nemesis to the Taylors across the board. So only Ryder Strong can. He has that kind of power. So
he sure does. My last favorite guest star is the Home Improvement logo.
I wish I'd have thought of that.
First appeared in Where There's a Will, There's a Way. And it's a good guest star when on Wikipedia it mentions the very first episode that it is appearing in the opening season.
It does say that at the bottom.
So, it's the logo has been a force to reckon with ever since it's been on the episode. Just like leaning against windowsills and hopping in and out of the screen at the start of episodes, on wheels, all this kind of stuff, trying to get attention, and I was into it, so good for them.
That's funny. All right, best and worst moments. George, let's start with worst moments, and I think this is what we're both going to have, and this is Bell Bottom Blues, Jill's hippie dialogue at the end of that episode.
Not only the garb, but also her talking like a hippie.
The garb, I could take it or leave it. It's trying too hard, but it's the dialogue and the diction and just the tone. Oh, it was bad, and it went on so long. She's just groovy, and she's giving peace signs and dancing around, and it
was rough.
We hated it then. We hate it now. It's the episode itself is kind of whatever. But yeah, it was the kind of scene where you're just like, oh no,
but you can't turn away.
Yeah, it's like a slow motion. It's like a car accident. It's like, well, I don't want to see what happens, but at the same time, I got to see what happens here. So yeah, pretty terrible. Anything to add on that?
No, I think you covered it. It's definitely it's on my list too. So that was the first thing that stuck out to me actually.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's pretty much a low point for the series, I would say.
This one, I don't know. This one might compete a little bit. This one is the boys pulling down Tim's pants.
Yeah, I know we're gonna about
and
have
dances with tools.
Yeah, I'll let you explain this one because I feel like I've done enough explanation, or try to explain it.
Tim is sleeping on the couch, and the boys are trying to play a prank on their dad. So they do several things, and they put shaving cream in his hand. They try to tickle his nose so he'd smack his face. They also slowly unzip his pants and pull them down, and it's just a strange choice by the producers.
Yeah, and the camera zooms in, and you see just this small child hand unzipping the pants, and it's just unsettling and peculiar. And I maybe 1992 is a simpler time. I'm certain that it was
less cynical.
Yeah, it doesn't play in today's cultural landscape. It's just very strange, and I didn't care for it very much. So,
what's your last moment?
So my last moment is a bad moment, but I kind of actually like it, but it is ridiculous. So this is Haunting of a Taylor House.
Okay.
It's when Danny, Ryder Strong, and Jennifer show up to the party dressed as bikers, and Brad answers the door, and it's the whole thing where it's a Lifetime movie, and the they're acting like these are adult people having a conversation.
Not 12-year-olds.
Not like 12-year-olds. And Danny walks, he's like, I'm with Jennifer now. And they're both just dressed as bikers, and it's so self-serious and just like dramatic. And, you forget that they were dropped off by parents in the driveway, and they said, I love you, I'll pick you up at 7:30 p.m. It's just like very, very bizarre. I love it, but it's absurd because, Brad's in 6th grade, and it's like Jennifer showing up to the party with another guy is like something out of, I don't know, like...
something
like
in college or
Beverly
something.
Hills 90210 or something, like one of those kind of shows. But like on this show, it just didn't really fit. So like I said, absurd, but I did like it.
That's a good one. I thought you would maybe have this on your list too, but it ended up turning into a good moment, I suppose, for us. And it's the episode when when Mo Binford is there for the first time. They come to the like location house that they're working on, and they're halfway into this parrot joke, and they leave us hanging, and we never know what the joke was or how it ended. And it ended up turning into a good thing because we got your take on the joke. Mm-hmm. But at the time, I was just frustrated that they would do something like that to us.
Well, Jordan, that's good that you said that because that will dovetail into one of my best moments.
Oh, good.
And that is made the best man win. What you just said, that was one of my favorite moments. So, Polly want a cracker, more like Polly want a lawyer.
Man.
So it's my reading that that's the end of the joke. So we get the end of the joke, we just don't get the beginning of the joke.
Sure. Sorry. I said that backwards.
Yeah, it's okay. But it's a best moment for me just because
of what you did with it.
I think it's just we all rallied around it. It was
We did
absurd.
rally.
There was a Reddit thread created in honor of it, and I don't know. It's it could have been a worse moment, but for me, it's a best moment. I just like what they did there. I like the idea of the writers just kind of cutting in right there.
At the time, you were mad. I remember you said you hated when they do this.
With time comes changing perspectives. Maybe I've matured over the course of the season. Maybe my humor has changed. But when I was coming up with my best moments, I said, well, I gotta put Polly Want a Lawyer on there. I think if we ever start selling memorabilia or swag, we won't in any kind of serious way, but we should make a Polly Want a Lawyer shirt.
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Yeah.
Seems easy.
So what's one of your best moments?
We've talked about Danny or Ryder Strong a couple times, and he's in one of my best moments here because he really gets his comeuppance in the Haunting of a Taylor House when they're in the basement. He comes downstairs and he's all, this is stupid and this is not scary, and then he does get terrified in the basement, and I love it because he's just so smug.
Yeah.
And they chase him upstairs and everything, and everyone is happy about that. Everyone at the party is clapping, so I thought that was a good moment.
I like the part where he craps his pants, too.
Yeah, it smells bad, but it looks funny.
Yeah, it's weird how they got it to smell through the TV, too. That's a good one. I didn't have that one. Another one of my favorites is, mentioned this briefly earlier, episode Let's Did Lunch. McGurns eat garbage.
That's on mine, too.
That was a clip. That wasn't me saying it.
Oh, wow.
That's one of your best moments?
Yeah, it's one of my best moments. Eat garbage.
You don't really need to explain it. It's just a really
that's
good
it.
line.
Everyone remembers the eat garbage line.
It's just it's like the speech at the end of Casablanca. It's just it's memorable. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but sometime soon for the rest of your life.
McGurns, I have a feeling this is going to be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Of all the side yards in all the world, they had to walk into mine.
Oh, man.
All right, so we
throw the garbage, Sam. Throw the garbage.
Yeah. Play it again, Randy. All right, guest appearance by the lawnmower in this final episode.
This is Tim from the last episode, The Great Race. He's still going.
This is also that he has passed into different time zones.
It's kind of like the Twilight Zone here.
I guess I gotta shut this window. You want unfiltered, uncut, unfettered. This is it. Okay, so final best moment for me is shooting 3 to make 2-2. Brad and Randy smoked the cigars, which could have actually been a worse moment for me. It's just kind of cheesy. But when Tim and Jill trick them, they say they're taking Wilson to the hospital because he smoked one of those cigars, and then they leave and shut the door, and the boys kind of think that they're getting sick. They are feeling the symptoms that were previously described, and they open the door, and Tim and Jill are there. I just thought that was a good gag.
Yeah, a little bit better than the tadpole soup that we just had.
I think that's why I thought the tadpole one was so lame, because this one was. I just like this one.
They nailed
so
that
much
one.
more. Yeah.
That's a good one. That should have been on my list, to be honest. But I also had another one from Let's Did Lunch, and that is the wood sniffing challenge, when they blindfold Al and he has to sniff these different beams of wood and tell what they are. This is just a really memorable scene for me. I always remember it when I was younger. I guess when Tim puts the smelly socks on there and then he drops the wood on Tim's foot. I think that's a good moment for me. Just good physical comedy. So I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I agree. That was good. A little lowbrow for me, but I get why you like it.
Say that every time. But McGurns eat garbage.
Yeah, that's I think I justified that with my Casablanca references. All right, Jordan, we do have some mail here, so should we open the season in summation mailbag?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
You've got mail.
All right, so first question, or set of questions, comes from @Linda Stott. Linda was nice enough to give us quite a few questions, 6 of them. We're going to answer 3 of them. So thank you, Linda, for your support and your questions. So question 1, how does your least favorite Season 2 episode compare to your least favorite Season 1 episode? Which is worse? So we kind of noted earlier that, in general, Season 2 is just a lot worse than Season 1 across the board. In terms of our least favorite episodes of Season 1, Jordan, what did we note for those? You kind of listed some earlier.
I think my least favorite was the Bubble Toil and Trouble episode, and that was they were redoing the bathroom and it turned into this whole big thing, and the fighting escalates between Tim and Jill from just being like mad at each other to her leaving in a hotel and you thinking maybe they're gonna get divorced or something. And I think we talk. Listeners will know we talk about how we don't like episodes that are centered on them fighting the whole time, especially when at the end they just kind of like forgive each other for no reason, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we know the series goes on like 8 seasons, so we know they're not going to divorce. So like going to the hotel is just sort of foolish. So how do you feel like that compares, or which one's worse?
I don't know. I mean, that one. I guess I don't like the ones that are illogical. So the other one that I really didn't like was Howard's End, where they fight about, they're again fighting the whole time, and they're fighting about like this weird separate checking account that shouldn't exist. So in that way they're very similar to me. Like I don't like the fighting between Tim and Jill. I don't like it when it seems unnecessary as well.
Yeah. So my least favorite Season 1 episode was, I don't know. I have difficulty remembering. I guess I should have thought a little bit about it more. I know I didn't like Jill's birthday a ton, and then I know that the Mother's Day episode in this one was one of my least favorites. I know my Season 2 least favorite episode would probably be Abandoned Family if I had to choose one, and that's again where just like Jill is like picking a fight with Tim because she doesn't necessarily like the way he's doing these things. Like he's doing the things he's being asked to do, but he's not doing it her way. So it's just like illogical. Whereas my least favorite episode from Season 1, Satellite and a Hot Tim's Roof was pretty poor.
Rondell
was pretty dope. But that was one where like Tim, it was just like stupid. Jill was like kind of getting flirted with by a guy. But like, if that's one of my least favorites from Season 1, that is infinitely more interesting than Abandoned Family and some of these Season 2 turds. So I would say just the Season 2 episodes that are bad are considerably worse than the Season 1 episodes that are bad.
Yeah, it's definitely a lower bar for Season 2. Let's move on to the next question. I guess we did that, right? So number 2?
Yeah.
Second question is similar, also from Linda. How does your favorite Season 2 episode compare to Season 1? Which is better? We've talked about how we do like Season 1 overall better than Season 2. I think both of our favorite episode from Season 1 is For Whom the Belch Tolls.
Yeah.
At least that was definitely mine. And the best for Season 2, whew.
The thing about Season 2
Nothing sticks out like that.
Yeah, there's no clear-cut best. I came up with a list of ones that I thought were like pretty good, but I knew before I composed that Season 1 list that For Whom the Bell Tolls was going to be my favorite. So, that one is still probably my favorite episode to date. Also, Season 2 didn't really do the sentimental episodes so much. I think there's the Where There's a Will, There's a Way episode, which is like
Yeah.
But that's not. It's just not as good.
No.
So yeah, From the Bell Shoals is better than in my opinion, better than any of the best eps of season 2.
For sure. Yeah. And better. Season 1's better overall. But
for sure.
The next question we have from Linda is, what do you hope to see happen in season 3? So enough looking back. We're gonna look forward for a moment. Let's. What do we want to see happen?
Sex, drugs, violence,
rock and roll.
No, I mean, I guess I would like to see them kind of trying new things. We get a lot of repetition, and I think it's more noticeable when you watch these episodes. You know, we've watched 49 episodes over the course of probably like 55, 56 weeks or something. So, like, definitely you notice them hitting on the same threads. So, I would like to have better and more frequent guest stars. I would like to have
less
them,
K&B boy guest stars.
Yeah, I'd like to have different guest stars. I'd like to have them trying different things plot wise. I'm tired of seeing the same old fights. I'm tired of seeing the same old brotherly dynamics. So I'd like that. I'd like maybe some of the more sentimental episodes if they're done well, like a For Whom the Belch Tolls. Looking forward to seeing Al kind of maybe come into his own.
Yeah.
I know in season 3 we get Debbie Dunning. I don't know how. I know near the end of the show she is like a character that gets her own like plot points outside of Tool Time. I doubt that happens right away, but that will be nice to kind of have some fresh blood in there. So yeah, I guess I would just like a variety in kind of what happens. Whereas so often we get just the same things over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely took a lot of things that I had written down. But yeah, I wrote down, like, will they make Al less weird and more likable? Because right now he's a very, I don't know, he's a one-trick pony and a little strange. And kind of the same goes for Mark. Like, he's just this little narkish little boy, and I'd like to see him get something that's more rewarding and a little bit, better for his character besides, like, getting beat up in karate or something like that. I saw that season 3 is hailed as one of the best, so I'm excited about that. And will Jill get a new bestie to replace Karen is what I'm wondering.
I hope so, man. What if like IMDb had just, there's just a mistake and Karen wasn't God and she's back, man? That'd be disappointing.
Boy, you'd be really upset.
I would be peeved.
I am excited for season 3. I will say that.
Yep. All right. So, next. Thank you, Linda, for those questions. We're gonna move on to @KigTweets. She also asked quite a few questions. We're gonna choose our favorite one, and that is favorite Jill moment of the season. For me, it was easy. For you, it was not. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see what you came up with, but. I would say this was a season where Jill didn't have a ton of good moments.
No.
The end of the first season, I was pretty high on Jill. I feel like we defended Jill very often early on in the podcast run, whereas this season she was, and I mean, it's not like, I'm not attacking the actress, just the writing, I guess, did this to her, but she was pretty illogical, difficult to deal with, childish throughout. But one moment that I did like was Karate or Not, Here I Come.
This is what I wrote down.
Yeah, I figured. It's barred on
It's the moment.
Yeah, when she gets into it with the bully of the boy who is attacking Mark at karate, and she pushes her and she calls her fat, and she doesn't do anything. It's not a great moment for her as a person, but it is a compelling moment.
She's feisty.
She's feisty, and she's defending her son, and it's funny. So I would say for sure that moment. You concur?
Yeah, and it's something different for her. Like, she goes into this karate dojo and thinks like, oh, I don't want him in. I don't want Mark doing this, and then all of a sudden she gets she catches the fighting mojo of the dojo. Karate, and things get a little feisty, a little bit interesting, and like you said, it's just one of her more compelling things. I don't like a lot of her, setting people up and fighting with Tim over some of her new responsibilities.
Her prank wars with the boys.
Well, I mean, we did like the cigar one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
so
right.
I don't know. She's I would say definitely we like her better in season 1. She's definitely more of a sympathetic figure in that season. In season 2, not so much. So
yeah. Okay, so thank you for those questions. Kig tweets. Final question @JLPlanner. Why didn't the Taylor fam have a dog? I could totally see a lot of quick camera takes to the dog looking bored as Tim made macho noises.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, that's a good question. I think dogs might be a little bit harder to get acting on the set.
If they can get Mark to do what they want, they can get a dog to do what they want.
I'd like to just see them take the Home Improvement logo and just play it in the same role. Just have it be there all the time.
I would like a dog because, I do agree. You could get a dog in there and you could cut. All right, so Tim and Jill are having a fight or whatever. It's stupid. You cut to the dog and the dog's just kind of raising his eyebrows. Maybe the dog is maybe the dog talk. I mean, I don't think a sitcom can ever go wrong when they have a talking dog or a dog with an internal monologue. Not a dog with a blog, not interested in that at all. But a dog that can kind of respond to things. So let's say Tim grunts, the dog just kind of goes, he's communicating with Tim via the grunts.
Maybe they don't have the budget for it. There's if you're having the dog actually talk as opposed to just looking at the dog.
Well, no, you just get Tim to do the voiceover.
Okay.
Tim will voice the dog.
Well,
it's Tim and the dog in the garage just hanging out, and Tim's like, "Hey, Rusty, you want to see my? Want to see how the hot rods go?" And the dog's like,
Well, there's worse ideas out there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think get rid of Mark next season, bring in a dog. Shows do that all the time. They just retool.
And Home Improvement definitely could retool.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know it doesn't happen, but it could.
It would have saved everyone the goth phase.
Hashtag free Tim Allen, All right, so you say no dog, or you say dog?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to cause some sort of ruckus. A little bit more high maintenance than maybe Mark would be, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. The dog's not going to swallow any tadpoles, that's for sure.
That's for sure. And I don't think the boys are going to pick on the dog, so I guess it would be good to have that.
If the boys pick on the dog, boy, that wouldn't go over well.
There's an episode where the dog fights back and bites them.
Yeah, just bites them. All right, I think that about does it for our questions, Jordan.
Yeah, thanks everybody for sending us questions. I guess let's move into social media because we've wrapped up season 2.
We've wrapped up season 2. Glad to be done with season 2. Not as good as season 1. Not that good at all, but we look forward to season 3. And yeah, I've heard good things about season 3. I know season 3, it was Home Improvement was the number 2 show on television, so
we're excited
to that. Yeah, hashtag blessed. Right?
Absolutely. So reach out to us, ask us questions, get involved as we move into season 3 here. You can reach out to us at thehomeandpodcast.com. We have our email at homeandpodcast@gmail.com. Our Twitter, we're at homeandpodcast, and Facebook, we're facebook.com/homeandpodcast.
On the Twitter front, just real quick, we had a poll here. What is your favorite child cereal? Yeah, okay. So, the cereal made of children. 5% said Cocoa Busters, 13% said Reese's, 36%, or rather 38% said Fruity Pebbles, that surprises me, and 44% said Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's 16 total votes, so pretty good.
People like their cereal.
Other than that, most of our interactions this week were the questions that we discussed. So yeah, thank you for interacting with us, and continue to do so, please.
Yeah. So with that, I don't think we're doing a question of the week. We've already ran long for this.
I got no questions. Other than Jordan, looking forward to. Are you looking forward to season 3?
I am looking forward to season 3.
All right. Yeah,
it's been built up. Hopefully, our expectations aren't too high.
I mean, after the way that season 2 went, I feel like it's a low bar to clear. So hopefully, hopefully it's a little bit better. Right? We're gonna be off next week, so the week after this debuts, we're gonna take a week off and recharge the batteries, and then come back with a new sense of self, a reinvigorated interest in home improvement, and maybe some other new bits. So enjoy this episode. Let us know what you think of it. Thank you for continuing to listen, support, and staying with us for 49 episodes. Jordan, thank you for joining me this week, and I guess you should say take care.
Take care, everybody.